The 1980 ransom discovery.
So a whole decade goes by, and just when you think the trail is completely, forever cold, we get this massive twist in 1980 that changes everything we knew about the case. A young boy named Brian Ingram is just playing along the banks of the Columbia River in Washington state. He's digging in the sand, and he uncovers a buried package of deteriorating $20 bills. When investigators run the serial numbers on those bills, they are a perfect, exact match to the 1971 ransom money given to Cooper. They recovered $5,800. It is the only confirmed portion of the ransom ever found. But honestly, rather than solving the mystery, it just spawned more questions. Like, did Cooper bury it himself? Did he die and the river just washed the money ashore over the years? The cash proved it made it to the ground, sure, but it still didn't tell us a single thing about what happened to the man actually holding it.
Let's look at the suspects and survival theories.
All right, the ultimate fate of Dan Cooper really boils down to two completely opposite theories. Theory number one, he survived. He hit the ground, grabbed the bulk of the money, walked right out of the woods, and spent the rest of his life quietly blended into society under a totally new identity. Theory number two, he died. The FBI has repeatedly pointed out the incredibly harsh realities of that jump. He leaped into the freezing dark, the weather was garbage, he was wearing a business suit and standard loafers, definitely not survival gear, and crucially, the primary parachute they gave him, it couldn't even be steered. Yet, without a body, without a confirmed landing zone, or the rest of that $200,000, neither theory can be entirely proven. It is just a perfect, frustrating stalemate of evidence.
Over the years, the feds looked at hundreds of suspects. Everyone from ex-military guys to aviation nerds to people exhibiting highly suspicious behavior. One of the most famous suspects was a guy named Richard Floyd McCoy. His background was staggering. He actually pulled off a strikingly similar airplane hijacking the very next year in 1972. It made total sense that he could be our guy, but ultimately, McCoy was ruled out. Why? Because his physical appearance simply didn't match the descriptions provided by the flight crew. And remember, they spent hours looking right at Cooper. Suspect after suspect was brought forward by investigators, authors, even family members on their deathbeds, but not a single one was ever conclusively proven to be Dan Cooper.
Which leads us to our final section, an enduring unsolved mystery.
You know, decades of dead ends eventually take their toll. Even as forensic technology improved and evidence was re-examined and tips kept flowing in, the ultimate answer just remained completely out of reach. So, on July 8, 2016, a full 45 years after that Thanksgiving Eve flight, the FBI announced they were officially redirecting resources away from the active Norjack investigation. They had chased thousands of leads, but the active day-to-day manhunt, it was officially over.
So, that leaves us with the million-dollar question, well, I guess the $200,000 question, that still haunts the Pacific Northwest. Who was Dan Cooper? The guy boarded an airplane as a completely anonymous passenger and left it as an absolute legendary fugitive. There is no confirmed photograph of him post-jump. There is no verified confession. There is no grave. Did he survive and live out his days sipping coffee in some quiet town under a fake name? Or are his remains still out there right now, hidden deep in the unforgiving wilderness, guarding the rest of that missing ransom? Until someone actually stumbles upon a definitive answer hidden out there in those woods, D.B. Cooper will forever remain the man who disappeared into the night. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep questioning what's out there in the dark.